It's a way of the Mr. Quickie, oh yeah.
In part 2 of this one-part series, we looked at all the little bits and pieces needed to make any given theology function in a way in which the narrative is logically coherent and maintained, at least enough to keep that narrative sensible and meaningful. We also looked at some specific examples of how our current understanding of the world has made that impossible in terms of the traditional Christian narrative. As mentioned, most Christians don't even know or care about such things, like the story of Moses being, empirically speaking, pure fiction, which then calls into question every theological bit tied to it, right down to our need for a Savior and our place in the world as just another hominid species rather than some special creation. But not knowing, not caring, or more frighteningly, fighting against such revelations because they challenge the narrative, taking you out of your comfort zone, has dire consequences for the rest of us. If you're going to choose willful ignorance, apathy, or outright denial, the impact of any one of those decisions will not stop with you, your theological narrative, or the choices you make for yourself and your loved ones. I can tell this doesn't happen much anymore, but when I was growing up religious, there was a great deal of emphasis put on developing character, and in particular, honesty. As many of you know, I grew up Mormon, so I'm sure you already see the irony. If you want a bit more irony, it's this devotion to honesty that I learned from Mormonism, which led me out of Mormonism. I don't know if the church simply doesn't understand what will happen when people follow that principle and take it seriously, or if they just count on people ignoring the principle altogether and doing otherwise. But I took that message to heart, and as I became intellectually curious, that honesty morphed into a profound sense of intellectual honesty, and the need to be honest with myself, even when that honesty was disconcerting or challenged my own comforting narrative. This is what I understood to be the very heart of character: preferring the truth and what's right, even over one's own personal interests. #CTR. Within the evangelical community, this seems to no longer be a factor. Simply put, their feelings don't care about the facts. Aside from all the blatant dishonesty among Christian apologists, we now have a good number of these folks believing in Jewish space lasers, stolen elections, massive hidden pedophile rings within the government, all without a shred of evidence. And I can't help but see the overlap. One seems almost inevitably to lead to the other. If you care more about a particular narrative than the truth of that narrative, for whatever reason, you are the perfect mark for the snake oil salesman, the propagandist, and the demagogue. The kind of people who will only use you and leave you holding the bag once they've gotten what they want. If you don't care about the truth when it comes to your theology, preferring instead your feels and the comfort a particular narrative brings, that disregard for the truth will undoubtedly spill into other areas of your life: your politics, your work, your relationships, and likely for the very same reason. The simple fact is, you can either want something to be true, or you can want the truth. Pick one. Because if you want to be part of the reality-based community, those two things don't always, or even often, align. Once again, I'm me. Thanks for watching.